All right, we are joined by the Wisconsin Badgers head coach Greg Gard, along with Tyler Wahl and Connor Essegian. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach Gard, then we'll take questions for the student athletes. Coach.
All right. First of all, congrats to Ohio State. I thought they've been playing better since the last time we saw them a month ago. But obviously for us, disappointing start the first half. I thought they were way more aggressive than we were. They put us on our heels in a lot of situations. They got very comfortable with what they were doing offensively. And by the time we had rallied and played, with more aggressiveness, more physicality in the second half, obviously we had ourselves dug into way too deep of a hole. So it's a good lesson for us in terms of the tale of two halves. But I thought the difference was the aggressiveness and the physicality they played with in the first half that we did not match. And second half, we finally started to do some things how we've done them for part of the year. So questions for these guys?
We'll start in the middle on the left-hand side.
Tyler, you've played a ton of games in that uniform. How can you explain what Greg just talked about, the fact that they were so much more aggressive? You guys knew you had to win some games here in terms of the NC2A.
It hurts. It hurts because we knew what we were getting ourselves into. We knew the position we put ourselves into, and we had to come out here and win a game. And we definitely did not start with the urgency that we needed to. I do like the way that we fought back, but at the end of the day, we just got to be better.
All the way on the right-hand side.
Likes to come back. You guys return basically everyone. Just how do you make sure the season isn't remembered as a season of frustration, and just what lessons can you get from this year?
We know who we got in the locker room. We know the talent, within the locker room, and we're here for a reason. And I know there was a lot more that we could have done this season so far. And I'm just hoping, that we're able to really prove people wrong.
All the way on the left.
Tyler, in the first half especially, that the ball just wouldn't go in for you guys inside. What was the frustration level there that you got good looks, just couldn't get them to go, and it kept seeming like that kept just kind of going up against you? They built the lead while that was tough for you to go in.
Yeah, I feel like seeing those shots not go in, it definitely played on us, and it affected our defense. They were super aggressive, and when we were not sound on defense by the start of it, and from the shots not going in. We just dug ourselves in a huge hole, and it was hard to come back from that.
Third row in the middle.
Tyler, lots of better second half rebounding and shooting, obviously coming from you and a lot of players on the team. The ball just kind of tried to help bridge the gap. How are you able to use your leadership skills to kind of, try and turn things around and, put yourself back in a fighting chance in this game?
That's a great question. I feel like we just went out there. We knew what the stakes were. We had a little talk at the locker room at halftime. We knew what was at stake, and we knew what we had to do. We had to come out with a lot more better energy, and we had to get some stops. So we got some down the stretch, and it just wasn't enough.
Third row, left side aisle.
Connor, after some of the early three-pointers weren't falling, it seemed like you guys stopped taking them as a team in the first half especially. Is that something that you wish that maybe you would have taken a few more of those looks, would have tried to get a few more looks from beyond the arc?
That's kind of a tough question to answer. Kind of just being out there, you really just kind of look and see what's open. We were able to get some more stuff going inside into the paint, and I feel like that helped us a lot, in the second half, kind of getting us going a little bit, especially when the three ball's not falling. You just really got to just go out there and play. That's kind of tough to answer, I'm not going to lie.
Left side, Jim.
Connor, obviously an important game. Do you think you were a little tight as a team, not just you, but do you think you were a little tight, especially that first half?
You could see it. There's a lot of guys that, everyone just seemed a little, tense. So, I feel like that, that's something we just got to prepare and be ready for, the next game. And so, honestly, we just got to be ready for the next time.
Take two more for student athletes, start in the front row, right.
Tyler, I know you didn't have the best first half as a team, but you went on an 8-0 run in the second half. If this is your final game in a Wisconsin uniform, what can you take away from it and the experience overall?
The game itself, that was a tough one because it was definitely one that we wanted to win. From an overall standpoint, I can't thank the university enough, the coaches and my teammates enough for everything they've done.
Any one last question for student athletes? All right, you guys can head back to the locker room. We'll continue with questions for Coach Gard. If you have a question for Coach, please raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. We'll start here in the second row.
Greg, you talked about the defense, and you said you let Ohio State get comfortable. What do you think you guys did not do defensively that allowed them to get some early looks that they had?
Yeah, I thought we weren't physical enough, part of it. And when you allow a team to shoot 68%, that obviously tells you. And also at times through the half, we had no fouls. You know, we went pretty deep into that half without fouling. That told me that we're not physical enough. We were not up into the ball enough. We didn't stop dribble penetration on a couple drives to the rim. And, they get a couple easy baskets, and then the step backs and the things that Thornton and Sensabaugh, and we same side helped twice off Sewing and gave him a 3 and then fouled him on the other one. Those are things that, just give them more confidence. And when you're trying to battle back and you've given them, that many opportunities to get feeling good about themselves, second half I thought we were much more physical, and approached it more like we should have from the beginning.
Go all the way on the left.
Greg, what did you try to say to them in the first half to try and just settle down, kind of get some of that tenseness out? Because it looked like it kind of compounded a few times where it just spiraled a little bit.
Yeah, I thought we looked really hesitant. I thought we looked, just some looks on some guys' faces that I haven't seen in terms of. I think the biggest thing was just be more aggressive, on both ends of the floor. And like I mentioned with the question with Jeff, we talked about that in a few of those huddles, that we don't have any fouls yet. We can be more physical, more aggressive, get up into the ball more. And in the second half, we did it. I thought we got, McGee gave us a boost by doing some of that. Jordan Davis did that. Gilmore was active, and we were more assertive in the second half and kind of got them on their heels, much like they did to us in the first half too. And the same thing with the pressure and we threw the ball away. We didn't handle a few simple overplays, and that told me we were hesitant and tentative, and they were the more aggressive team in the first 20.
We'll go all the way on the right-hand side.
Greg, just same thing I asked the guys. You guys bring back almost everyone from the rotation. Just what could you take away from this game, just the whole season?
Well, there's been a lot of lessons that haven't been pleasant to go through that these guys have experienced. That's what I talked about afterwards, that we have to be able to use these to our advantage, no matter what happens, the rest of this year and then spinning forward. But we're more focused on this year right now. But we obviously have maturing to do in some of these areas, and we've seen that. I think that's the one thing with younger teams is the inconsistency, and we sometimes change colors right within a game. Today's a good example of being put on our heels in the first half, and then getting back to who we need to be and who we need to be good in the second half. So that's always a challenge with a younger group, to have them understand that and always approach it that way, and it usually comes more natural and more consistent with older guys. So that's something that we've got to continue to. I got to help them with it, and leadership has to grow organically within, and there's a lot of hurtful lessons this year that we've had to go through that have stung, that we have to bottle and use to our advantage.
We'll go on the left side.
Greg, along that same line, when you look at the season, it had an extraordinary number of close finishes, and you had some good wins, you had some frustrating nights. What has this ride been like for you personally, to go through the ups and downs, what you guys have gone through?
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed this group. They have given us everything they've had. I can't ask for any more of an effort in what they've done. And as a coach, that's all when you have your kids play hard and they play hard for you, that's, the ball doesn't go in some nights. You have some frustrating halves or segments of games. But this group has continued to come back and want to learn and want to get better. And, they've been, like I said, they've been fun to coach. It's just been a lot of, frustrating results at times. And I can't say that I didn't see this coming in terms of just things we had to grow through. And the only way you grow through it is you have to go through it. And adversity and some of those adjectives that, align with that are most often our best teachers. They have to go through it and understand how important, you name it, is in order to be a good team, be a good, consistent team. So, for me and our staff, just trying to help them see that, help them through it, and then help leadership continue to blossom and grow within the locker room.
Right side, front row, and we'll take 2 more.
Coach, you pulled Steven Crowell at the 16-minute mark, ended up playing him at the 4:47 mark. Chucky and Connor, you brought him back in at the 5:22 mark. If you had the decision again, would you play them a little earlier, or was that kind of the decision you wanted to go with?
No, I mean, I thought Steve looked heavy-legged at times. I thought he couldn't finish, and then they also went small with Brown. Akpara was on the bench at times, so and Gilmore was giving us a boost. And the same thing with Jordan Davis and Kamari McGee that I mentioned. I just thought they were able to help provide some energy and some juice for us off the bench. So when we were riding that wave, when we were making a comeback to get the deficit down, I just was going to go with the guys until they told me I needed a break. So I went back to Steve when Akpara got back in there, as Gilmore was, had played a lot of minutes consecutively.
Back over here.
Greg, you mentioned Gilmore being Crowell being heavy-legged, but earlier you said the look in some guys' faces. Was Crowell one of those guys? Because there were a couple of times the ball just got knocked out of his hands. They weren't really doubling him.
Yeah. I thought we just weren't aggressive. We weren't assertive. We didn't attack in the paint like we have at times. And I think we've watched his growth and development, and one of the jumps he's got to make is he's got to be assertive and aggressive and try to, I sometimes tell him he's too unselfish. He's always looking to pass instead of trying to go score. So that's part of his maturity and growth.
All right, we'll go right behind him, and then we'll finish with Jim.
Greg, Tyler mentioned the position that you guys put yourself in as a team, obviously with the NCAA tournament on the line. I mean, did you come into this tournament feeling that you had to win a few of these, to have something to watch on Sunday?
I don't know. I'm not a bracketologist, so I mean, you can look around and find differing opinions. If we are, we'll get ready to go and do that, and if we're not, we've had a lot of opportunities to put ourselves in position. So, I mean, I don't understand, resume comparison and all that stuff. We wanted to come in here and try to win this thing. That was the goal that we talked about, and then you end up wherever you are after that. So, I said this group, hopefully we have more basketball to play. We'll find out in due time. But like I said, the intent and what we talked about was try to take care of today, move on tomorrow, and see if we could stack 5 together. And whatever that leads to down the road, we live with it.
All right, we'll finish on the left side, Jim.
Just to clear up, because Tyler was asked about maybe putting on his uniform. Would you play in the NIT? Would you?
I haven't gone down that road to, I just really, Jim has been focused on this and worried about, preparing and helping these guys, try to do some damage here.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks.